Hi, everyone. Okay. Hey, guys. Welcome, welcome. Okay. I'm excited for this one today, guys. I really, really am. Because, oops, someone's calling me. Oh, I gotta. Okay. There's someone calling me at the same time. Anyway, I'm excited about today because I get to talk about one of my favorite things, which is about how to shift things through not only writing things down, but finding the entertaining or the absurd or the ridiculous or just the funny and whatever's going on in your life. So I'm just going to be talking about the 3 reasons why this is so important. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any stories that you want to share, please put them in the comments. I'll be looking at the comments all week. So if you're watching this on a recording and you want to add something, please do, because this actually helps more people to see what's going on and find out this material, which I think is super important. One of my biggest teachers has said to me, and his students in general, it's not what happens to you, it's your relationship to what happens to you and reality that makes life either entertaining or tragic or whatever label you want to put on it. It's not what happens, it's your relationship to what happens. And this is totally true when you apply humor and when you can find the funny in things. Because if you can find the funny, things just change. And I'm going to explain why. Okay. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had the experience of feeling out of control or afraid or frustrated or angry or powerless? I mean, we all have, right? We all have had that. You're going to love this today because this is how you shift. This is how you shift from all of those things into a better feeling place. So I'm just going to see if there's any questions really quick. No, there's no questions right now. We're going to keep going. Okay. So something happens. You're experiencing it. Okay. You're the experiencer of what happens in your life. But here's what happens when you write it down. When you start writing things down, journaling, writing sentences, reflections of what's happening in your life, you change your perspective from experiencer to observer. So when you're an experiencer, to use the haircut analogy, you go to the hairdresser and you're sitting there and you're getting your haircut. That's experiencing a haircut. Okay. When you're an observer, when you're writing about it, then you're watching yourself get a haircut. You're watching and writing down what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're doing, how you're behaving, whatever your reactions are to when you're sitting in that place. And what it does is it helps to bring a new perspective. Because when you're experiencing things, you're inside, but there's a whole other thing that's happening on the outside that you're not seeing. So another perspective would be like if you're the hairdresser and you're cutting your own hair, you're cutting someone's hair, you have a different perspective. When you're writing things down, it allows you to have a different perspective. It allows you to read that story. Okay? So you then get the value of being in the experience, and then you also get the value of observing you in that experience. Does everyone know what I'm trying to say here? So when you're writing down, you're physically allowing all the thoughts in your head to go on the page, and then you're looking at them and you're observing them. It's a different perspective. And when you have a different perspective, it allows you to be able to have a little wiggle room around things, to have different thoughts about things, maybe even different beliefs about observing versus experiencing. Okay. So that's reason number one about just writing things down is a game changer. So the second reason why this is really makes things different for you or helps you to change things is when you can see things as funny, hilarious, absurd, ridiculous, both inside ourselves and in the world. So Oftentimes I have found myself in situations where things are just moving along, and then something kind of seems weird to me, or a person appears in my life and they're almost like a character and they're amusing to me, or I have a reaction that's very amusing, usually pretty humbling at the same time. And I may be finding the funny in it in that moment, or maybe it's after when I tell the story to someone else, I find the funny. Either way, when you can find anything a little absurd or ridiculous or funny, it literally shifts your brain into a different mode. It shifts it into out of the fight, flight, or freeze, into different perspectives, more open minded, able to problem solve. It's just a different part of your brain. It's like when we start laughing about things, it's literally telling ourselves we're a little safer than we thought before, maybe. Takes you out of that dysregulation when you start laughing. So, in another context, I would say it's the strange yet beautiful. It's the life and the cosmic joke at the same time. So when you can do that, you can open up this menu of choices that were never seen before. It helps you to relax a little bit. It gets you into your solution part of your brain. So that's reason number 2. So writing it down helps you to become an observer. Being able to find the funny, even another window opens up to a different perspective. It helps you get into solution part of your brain. So here's the third part. When you can turn what normally drives you crazy into laughter. So whether this is what your kid does, a reaction you have, a rule at work, who arrives at your door, what happens at the grocery store, whatever it is, you start to be able to roll with things that maybe would make you get entrenched, right? You respond differently. You move through things differently. You start to be able to navigate around things that maybe were just roadblocks that you couldn't get around. And part of that is finding out that you're kind of silly a lot of times. I'm not trying to dismiss anyone. I'm just saying that sometimes, as human beings, we can be kind of funny. And it helps you be more compassionate with yourself. Like we're all just trying to figure this out. And it helps you be more compassionate with others. And it can help you let go of tension and fear and anger when we laugh. I mean, think about when you go to a comedy club, you start relaxing, you start laughing, right? You're enjoying. There's a reason why people go. They go to laugh and relax. It feels good. And it helps you stay in kind of a higher state of consciousness, really. So here's an example of what I mean, something that this really happened. So I'm grocery shopping in Trader Joe's one day, and I come out to go to my car. And where I live, Trader Joe's parking lot is always full. It's always like people moving around trying to find a place. So I'm in my car, I put the groceries in the back, and I notice that there's this van, this like old beat up van blocking my car. Like just, I'm in one slot and it's blocking. So I'm thinking, this is interesting. This person can see I'm putting groceries in my car and I'm going to be leaving, but she's blocking me and there's no reason for her to block me. So I get in my car and I'm thinking, is she going to move? I need to back out. So I get out of my car and I say, hey, can you move so I can back out? And she said, yeah, I'm not blocking you. And I'm like, okay. And I'm kind of already chuckling because it's very evident that she's literally blocking me in. And I said, okay, can you just move up a little bit so I can get out of the spot? And she says, no kidding. Oh, you think you own that spot? Oh, I see. You own the spot. And I was like, no, I'm just trying to leave the spot. And she's like, uh-huh. And I said, why don't you just park right there? She's like, I can't park there. And she gets really upset with me that I'm trying to tell her where to park. And I'm just trying to get out of my spot. And it occurs to me that this woman has some issues, that she's very agitated. She's very invested in my spot. But at the same time, she won't let me leave my spot. And all I can think of is, the scene in Seinfeld where he says, anyone can take a reservation, but can you hold the reservation? Like what she's doing makes no sense. And I'm sitting in the car. Luckily, I had nowhere else to go in a hurry. And I just start laughing. And I'm like, this is absurd. This woman is a character and she doesn't see how she's literally creating her own misery and she's committed to it. And I just sat there for a while and I just waited and kind of chuckling to myself and I thought, man, this is going to be a great story to tell someone. And finally, she moved just far enough so I could back out and leave. And, she went in my spot and felt very self-righteous. And I thought, I could have gone into that situation and been so serious about it, just like she was, and angry and defensive and proving my point, because certainly I did have a point. She was literally blocking me in. But something in me decided this is so not worth the fight. She obviously doesn't see my point of view. She doesn't see how she's literally stopping me from backing out so she'd get the spot. And I just thought life is ridiculous this way. And I could get enraged about it or I could just laugh. And when I did, everything relaxed. And then eventually things got back to normal and I was able to leave. So that's a great illustration of these three things. Now, I didn't write any of this down, but I did tell someone, which is kind of like writing it down. I was watching these two characters, me one character, her another character, having this debate about what the reality was in the situation. And then one character, me, started kind of laughing and relaxed, and then she could move on. And that's what happened. So if this makes sense to you, if you see how maybe you could be laughing more and finding the ridiculousness in the everyday or the once in a lifetime, then you're going to see life start to change. And I have an opportunity for you to actually be in a group of people where you're doing that more and more. It's my One Funny Mother stand-up class for moms. In this class, which is 6 weeks long, we literally take our everyday, whatever it is that you want to talk about, and find the funny and find the hilarious and the ridiculous and the absurd. And we literally write it down, create a 5-minute comedy set that you get to perform for your friends and family. And a lot of women go into this kind of petrified that they're doing this, going out of their comfort zone, whether it's about performing or writing things down that you're not supposed to laugh at or whatever it is. And each woman finds her way and starts to see, there's a lot of funny here, or I'm funnier than I thought, or man, I want to do this, or I'm terrified, but now I've done it. And what else did I think I couldn't do? I can do so much more. So that's something that you want to explore. We are starting tomorrow, April 4th. We're meeting at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll put the link to register below. It's an amazingly supportive, creative, fun, and transformative opportunity for you to take what drives you nuts and make it into something funny. Take the chaos and make it into comedy. And also, you get a lot of street cred from your friends. You will be the envy of all your girlfriends. So if you want to do that, please sign up. And the last thing I just want to say is, look, being a professional mom can be really hard. It can suck sometimes, but it also can be one of the best adventures of your life, because life gets way better when you befriend yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you have a supportive community and you can laugh. It usually drives you crazy because you're worth it. So I hope you're having a great Thursday. If you have any questions or you want to make a comment, please do. I encourage it. I want to hear from you. And if there's something specific that you'd like to hear about, that you feel like, man, if I could figure that out, that would help me a lot, please let me know, and I would love to talk about it. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you next week.